Hi, everyone. It's Dr. Z, and welcome to another episode of Next Up Narcissism. Today, we're talking about the holidays. They can be extremely stressful as much as they can be wonderful. We can love being around our family, but we also may have to deal with a narcissist in our life. This episode focuses on boundaries that we can set, strategies that we can use to help navigate our relationship with a narcissist throughout the holiday season. Everything from holiday dinners, gift giving, and co-parenting. This will be extremely helpful as you go into the holiday season, and I think that you will be able to really use these kind of strategic tips and really start to apply them during the holidays. I hope everybody has a safe, healthy, and happy holiday season. Hi, everyone. It's me, Dr. Z, and welcome to another episode of Next Up Narcissism. Today, we're talking about the holidays. They're coming up, whether you like it or not. And while the holidays are joyous and special for so many of us, for a lot of us, they can be extremely difficult, especially when you have a narcissist in your family, in your life. So we're going to spend this episode talking about some common themes that show up during the holidays. When you either are married to a narcissist or have a narcissistic partner or have a family member that's a narcissist. So we'll talk about some of the common themes that come up and some concrete strategies to help you kind of navigate this holiday landscape. So the first thing I always like to tell people, having absolutely nothing to do with narcissism, is that from Thanksgiving until January 1st, don't do anything significant as far as change. Meaning, and I know that some people may disagree on this, and that's fine, but from Thanksgiving until January 2nd, don't go on a diet. Don't try to cut down anything. Don't try to quit smoking. Just keep everything as is. Don't start trying to exercise more. And we'll talk about New Year's resolutions. That's a whole different podcast because I have a whole thing to talk about on that. And if you follow me, you know how strongly I feel about the BS of New Year's resolutions. And the reason why I tell people to just keep everything the same is because under times of stress, our brains get lazy. And when our brains are lazy, they go back to what is familiar. And what's familiar? Habits and patterns. So during the holidays, which can be extremely stressful, don't change anything significant unless you have to, right? Unless there's a health reason or something and you have to change it, that's different. But just because you want to, now is not the time to do it. So let's talk about narcissists and the holidays. We know without fail that when special occasions come up, this is like a birthday party for a narcissist, right? This is when they will come back into your life. This is when they will make that phone call or that text message or send that email when you haven't spoken to them in a really long time. This will be when your Aunt Sarah decides to start with you about when are you going to get married? Everybody's married except you. So this is the time of the zinger comments. This is the time for the arguments to start. Because again, narcissists routinely love to ruin meaningful moments. So whatever that looks like for you, we're going to give you some strategies to handle this. Now, for those of you that have a narcissist in your family, I guarantee you that what I am saying to you is not new material. I am sure that you approach the holidays with some sort of pit in your stomach. So strategy number one, if you know without fail that the narcissist in your family or in your life is going to do something or pull something on Thanksgiving, okay? They're going to say they're sick and go to the emergency room when nothing's wrong, just so somebody from your dinner party has to get up, go get them, or sit with them, or you're distracted now and everybody's focused on how this person is at the ER when really nothing's even wrong with them, but the attention and the focus was on dinner at your house. And so to deviate from that, they go to the emergency room. You know without fail something is going to happen. over Christmas, New Year's, Thanksgiving, whatever the case may be. Instead of, because the truth be told, there's nothing you can do to change their behavior. We know that, but we can change ours. So if you know with 100% certainty that this happens every damn year, this happens every Christmas, this happens every Thanksgiving, so-and-so always pulls something, you can go into this way better prepared. Meaning, you can go in expecting it to happen rather than hoping this year will be different. Listen, we all hope that Aunt Sarah has learned her lesson, has gone to therapy, and is going to be different this year. But Aunt Sarah has never gone to therapy and will never be different. And this year, especially around the holidays of all times, why on earth would you expect Aunt Sarah to be different? She's not. So you have to go into these situations with the expectation that it's going to happen. What that does is it allows you to prep responses ahead of time. It allows you to have a neutral emotional reaction to it rather than, I hope it doesn't happen, I hope it doesn't happen, I hope it, and bam, it happens, right? Your heart rate's going to go up, breathing's going to get shallow, you're going to feel anxious. But if you go in expecting it and it happens, it doesn't give you that spike. It doesn't give you that anxiety pang that you get, right? It won't make you as frustrated. You may still be annoyed, of course, because it's annoying, but you're not going to have that elevated response. So some templated response that you can use, especially this year, because, with politics being in the forefront of everyone's mind, I highly recommend trying to stay clear of politics, especially when there's drinking involved. So let's say that a topic comes up or somebody makes a comment to you, right? Let's go with Aunt Sarah. You come in and Aunt Sarah says, "Oh, it looks like you put on a little bit of weight." Right? And so, of course, Aunt Sarah says that because Aunt Sarah says that every year. So you know she's going to say it. She says it. And I almost want you to be able to say to yourself so that you can make it objective and look at it. I want you to almost envision her comments as the credits on a movie, right? So you're watching a movie, you see the credits going by, you're looking at them rather than being in the movie with them. I want you to hear what Aunt Sarah says, put it kind of on your mental TV screen and watch the thoughts go by, watch the comments go by. And what this does is it makes you less entangled with thoughts, with the statements, and it separates you so you can look at it rather than being all tangled up with it. And it allows you that pause. I always say the power's in the pause. It allows you that pause to be able to say whatever templated response you have. Like, it could be, let me go back on that. You could either walk away and not acknowledge it. That's always a response. You could always say, "Thank you, I've been trying," which will throw them for a loop because obviously they're doing it to kind of gain control and power over your mood, right? By making you feel bad and making them the ones to make you feel bad. It gives them control. It lets them know they have access to you. So if you say, "Thank you, I've been trying," what do you mean you've been trying? "I've been trying to gain weight." And you walk away. Leave them standing there. Or you say something like, I'm sorry, what?" Have them repeat it. Be like, "That's an odd thing to say to somebody, don't you think?" And walk away. And the reason why I have people make these comments, they are short, they're to the point, they don't involve a whole conversation because it's not necessary, but it puts the accountability. Now, they're not going to take accountability, but it puts the accountability back on them. It puts the focus back on them and takes it off of you. And it also allows you to walk away from the situation feeling, 1, a little bit empowered, 2, a little bit more in control, and 3, your heart's not beating out of your chest with anger and frustration, and your head's not going to explode. So that's why it's really important to have these templated responses. What I don't want you to do is get into an argument. If you feel like you're going to get into an argument, you can always excuse yourself and go to the bathroom. You can always pretend to take a phone call. Okay? So those are some things you can do in the moment when somebody makes these kind of offhanded comments to you. Remember, expect it to happen. So when it happens, your body doesn't act surprised in response. Have templated responses that are neutral and short. Here's what I don't want you to do. I don't want you to, like I said, start an argument or engage them any more than you have to But I also don't want you to stomp away in anger. I don't want you to roll your eyes. Here's why. Because that is still a response. Because remember, they don't care so much about your words. They'll know that they gained access to you and they were able to make you angry. That's what they want. So if you roll your eyes, if you slam a door, if you stomp off, if you, tell them F you, that is still a response. So neutral, put the accountability back on them. Again, you're not changing their behavior. That's not what this is about. This is about you gaining control over the situation. For some reason, particularly on Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner, narcissists love to go after what people are eating and what people weigh. And I think it's important to bring this up, especially around the holidays, because food, if you think about it, is one of the few things that we have total control over, right? If you think about it, we control what goes in, we control how much, and we control how it comes out. So food is a very tricky thing when it comes to control. We think about eating disorders. Eating disorders aren't about being heavy or losing weight. It's about control. Side effect is that you don't eat and you lose weight. So food is a very kind of control heavy trigger. So that's why narcissists love to go for things about food. Are you going to eat all that? Right? And I actually had personal experience. I had somebody say that to me once. I put food on my plate. It was a buffet, and somebody said, "Are you going to eat all that?" And so I just looked at them. I'm like, "Yeah, I'm starving." Walked away. Left them standing there. Didn't engage their response. I'm hungry. Left them standing there. And that's the kind of responses that I want you to have. Okay. I didn't say that's rude, right? Or I didn't roll my eyes. I didn't tell them to shut up. I didn't tell them, anything. I'm hungry, and walked away. So that's the kind of responses I want you to have. Now, does that mean you're not going to be angry? No, you're probably going to be really pissed off. But I promise you, you're going to feel a hell of a lot less pissed off by making these neutral, short statements. Some other things you can do. Position yourself at the table, or, if you're watching football or whatever the case may be, position yourself at these family gatherings in such a way that you are not in close proximity, but also not close enough to have a conversation or a dialogue with the narcissist. Try to position yourself as best you can away from them. Now, this is going to take a lot more effort on your part, which I apologize, but I promise you in the end, it's well worth it, so that you leave and you don't feel exhausted and drained and hate the holidays. So you're going to position yourself just, where you feel safest. Have somebody with you that's a buffer, whether it's a significant other, whether it's a friend, whether it's another family member. But kind of when you're around the vicinity of the narcissist, try to have somebody else that's a buffer. Because a lot of times narcissists may hold back a tiny bit if there's somebody else there, right? Because remember, they're very good at controlling their digs and their manipulation. So if they want to look good, they may be less inclined to make the comments if there's somebody else standing there who thinks that they are a good person, or thinks that they're nice, or thinks that they're, this amazing aunt or uncle or boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever. So they're not going to want to ruin that reputation. So try to kind of buffer yourself with somebody. The other thing, don't be afraid to say no to any invitations that may come up for you. Okay. It is okay to say no. If your narcissistic mother, who every year has ruined your holiday, invites you and your family to dinner, and up until now, you have been manipulated by the guilt that she puts on you. You have been manipulated by the shame and by, her depression and anxiety that she has. So she says, because you don't come and everybody's kids come and you don't come and I don't know what to say. And I feel like the oddball out and everybody's kids come except mine, and makes themselves out to be the victim. It's okay to say no, and at the same exact time, feel guilty. Because here's the thing, and I always say this. For a child to willingly not go to their parents for the holidays is a very big statement. That is not something they actively choose and can't wait to not do, right? You have to understand, they're in that position for a reason. And it's a very difficult decision, right? So saying no to an invitation like that is not something that comes easy. I am well aware of that. You're going to feel horrible, guilty, embarrassed, shameful, all of that stuff. And that's okay, because those are the emotions that have been created for you. That is the narrative that has been sold to you, that you need to do these things and abide by the narcissist rules, or else you are a bad daughter, you are a bad son, whatever the case may be. So don't be afraid to say no. If you do go, tell them that you have a certain time you need to be out. Doesn't matter if it's not true. That's okay. If you need that as an out, that's fine. If you choose not to use it, great. If things are going fine and you feel comfortable and you want to stay, great. Then your plans change. But you can always go in saying that you have to leave at 9:00 because you have other commitments, but it was really important to you to still show up here. That is perfectly fine. Feel free to excuse yourself. Like I said, go to the bathroom, pretend to take a phone call, go out and sit in your car. If you need to take a break, there is nothing wrong with that. But overall, the biggest thing as far as boundaries go at these holiday functions, and this applies at work too. This is for holiday parties at work too. Make sure that you go in knowing the likelihood that something's going to happen. Why? Because it always happens. And have some templated responses ahead of time that you can use. This will give you, again, you'll still feel anxious, but this will give you so much more control and feelings of empowerment and make you feel like you got this. You can handle this. Because again, like I said, the holidays are stressful enough. So add this into the mix and it becomes really stressful. So those are some boundaries that you can use. And as I said before, I know the holidays are hard for people. And for people listening that dread them, or people listening that hope they're good and then they end up not being good, you're not alone. I have a biased sample, but I have so many people of my patients that I see or that I consult with that they dread the holidays because it's so hard. And then they feel bad that they dread the holidays because they should be enjoying the holidays. So if you can't fully enjoy it yet, that's okay. You don't have to. You can start setting these boundaries. And listen, if it's too hard for you to say no, that's fine. Then use some of the smaller ones. Go for a certain period of time only. Say you have to leave, right? Find your buddy, find your buffer. You can do these other little things to help yourself get through. Get up from the table, go to the kitchen, help do dishes, things like that. Help serve the food so that you're not sitting there in the conversation if something comes up or they make a comment to you. Okay, you always have an out. There's always a door. You can leave. If it's at your own house, you don't have to invite them. And I understand that can be really difficult and you may get crap from other family members. So if you do have to have them and they are at your house, then the boundaries like getting up from the table, being in the kitchen, serving the food, washing the dishes, being more of the host to separate you from the guests in a sense. You can kind of hide within that if you need to. Have a definitive time for guests to leave. Start making it obvious that people are leaving, start throwing things out, start getting coats, things like that. Because again, it's your house, you're in control. Don't forget that. So I want to talk a little bit about gift giving, because as silly as this sounds, this is one of the biggest triggers for people over the holidays is gift giving. For those of you that are in a relationship with a narcissist, whether this is a parent or whether this is a friend, significant other, coworker, doesn't matter. Narcissists love to give shitty gifts. Always. They will do a couple things. They will get everybody else gifts but you. Or they will get everybody really nice gifts and get you something that either they know you already have, they know that you don't need, or they know that you don't like. For example, they may buy you a pair of sweatpants and get you a size extra small, knowing it won't fit you. So that you have to then say they don't fit and you have to bring it to their attention and it makes you feel bad. You can't fit into these pants and the whole thing. They want to be in charge. And it's not just because they want to give you a bad gift. They want to be in charge of your emotional reactions. What better way to get an emotional reaction than that? Now, there will be times where you're going to get an extremely luxurious gift, something so above and beyond. But I guarantee you it's because they want other people to notice it or other people to see it. So maybe you're out to dinner with a bunch of friends and they give you, a really expensive piece of jewelry, or they take you on a very expensive vacation, but it's not for you. It's for everybody else. And then maybe on Christmas, they give you another gift and it's, let's say you hate fishing, but your narcissistic wife gets you a fishing rod, even though she knows you hate fishing. Because then if you say you don't like it, that starts an argument. If you keep it and you never use it, that starts an argument. So it's not just about giving you a gift you don't like or don't need or don't want. It's also about the discomfort you're going to have and the arguments that you're going to have. And it ends up being such a thing, but it's such a thing the narcissist created on purpose. So when you get gifts that are, and I have on Instagram, around Christmas time, I always post, what is the most bizarre gift you have gotten from a narcissist? And if you follow me on Instagram, Dr. Z Psychologist, scroll down to last Christmas time. I'm going to post it again this year, but scroll down to last Christmas time. Read the comments of the gifts that people have gotten. It is absolutely mind-blowing. Some of these gifts, it's absolutely mind-blowing. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about some of the gifts that you've gotten in the past from a narcissist. And I want you to think about what the function was of them giving you that gift. Because it's not just about, they know I don't like fishing. Why would she give me a fishing rod? She knows I hate fishing. Of course she knows she hates fishing. Think about the function. You always hear me talk about function. What is the underlying reason why she got you that fishing rod? Think about it. Because now, if you are, unhappy with it, if you are ungrateful for it, now somehow you're going to have to be on the defensive of why you're not an ungrateful husband, why you're not, a selfish husband. And you're going to end up being on the defensive. And that's the whole point of it, is what I'm saying. There's gifts that people have given where it's something, listen, we all have been guilty of regifting, right? From time to time, but we regift to people that would have no idea it's a regift, correct? Correct. They will deliberately regift something that you gave them or that someone in your family gave them. And if you call them out on it, they'll say something like, no, I would never, how dare you say that? I just loved the gift so much, so I thought I'd give it to you because you said you liked it. You never said you liked it. But you catch my drift. The gifts are just another manipulative tool that they use to gain power and control over you, to ruin the moment, whatever the situation is. This happens a lot on birthdays too. Or they'll give everybody a gift but you. So that if you get angry and say, where's my gift? Well, I forgot it. You actually think I wouldn't get you. What kind of person do you think I am? The list goes on. So understand that whatever happens with the gift with a narcissist, it's always going to be something. So if they do not give you a gift, you don't say anything. Don't acknowledge it. Don't give them that satisfaction. Don't give them that supply. Don't give them that feedback. Because now if they said to you, what, you're not mad I didn't give you a gift? That looks so ridiculous. They're not going to say that, especially if it's in front of people. Or they may say, oh, you're not even going to say anything? I forgot your gift. They say that to you. Then you say, oh, don't worry about it. Give it to me whenever. You've cut them off. You've taken away their opportunity to be manipulative. If they get you something that is clearly something that they know you hate, just say thank you. That's it. If they keep prying, I thought you hated fishing. Then you say, well, if you thought I hated fishing, why would you get me a fishing rod? Again, similar to the party situation, you're putting the accountability back on them. But you're not giving them anything. It's very neutral. So you're kind of forcing them, I like to call them boxed in responses. You're forcing them into this situation where if they say something, their cover's blown in a sense. If they don't say something, they don't get the supply. So it's really important that you stay neutral. And I hate saying this because it sounds so ridiculous, but as people heal from narcissistic abuse, you'll understand what I'm saying. It's almost so ridiculous that it's funny, right? You don't give them a gift and then they actually have to call you out on it because you don't say anything. Ridiculous. Or they give you something they know you don't want. You say thank you and they say, well, I got you a fishing rod. You hate fishing. Well, if I hated fishing, why'd you get it for me? It's that simple. If they give you something that they know you already have, same thing applies. Say thank you. If they say, oh, I just remembered you already have that, then you can say, oh, that's okay. Here, you can return it. Right? Otherwise, you just say thank you. But if they say, well, you already have that, you say, well, why would you get it from me if I already had it? So again, you're giving them these boxed in responses while you are neutral the entire time. Because think about the outcome of that versus, why the hell would you get me a fishing rod? You know I hate fishing. You did this on purpose. This is the worst gift ever. Now you're in a whole rabbit hole with the narcissist on your holiday, which is exactly what they wanted. Okay. So that's gift giving. So we talked about gift giving. We talked about boundaries. The last thing I want to talk about is co-parenting on the holidays. For those of you that co-parent, and I don't even like to call it co-parenting, it's not even parallel parenting, it's counter-parenting. If you are counter-parenting with a narcissist over the holidays, let's talk about a couple things that you can do. Number one, somebody's going to have, most likely, unless you have joint holidays together, but if you do, chances are you're not separated from a narcissist. So you don't have the kids together on the holidays. That can be very upsetting, obviously. So have it be already organized and decided way ahead of time, right? You really want this in a custody agreement. I cannot stress to you enough, have the holidays decided in your custody agreement so there is no question. It is black and white. It is in the agreement legally. So a couple things. If you're not going to have your children on the holidays, I want you to be mindful of the fact that it can be very upsetting. It can be very sad. It is okay to let your children know that you're going to miss them. It is okay to let your children know that you can't wait to see them until they come back. You do not need to tell them that the other parent loves you so much and you're going to have the best time ever, because that's probably not true if they're going to the narcissist. And you don't want to tell your children that so that then they get confused. Again, this is age dependent, but you don't want to tell them they love you. You're going to have the best time. You're going to get so many presents. You're going to have so much fun. And they get there and they have to deal with all the gift crap that I just talked about. They have to deal with all the comments that I talked about and whatever else happens, and think that that's supposed to be what a good time is. That's supposed to be holiday fun. You don't want to give that message. You don't want to bash the narcissist, but you also don't want to say you're going to have the best time, because they're not. And so you need to make sure that you're neutral with them. You can say, I love you. I'm going to miss you so much. We will celebrate when you're home. That's it. And that's all you need to say. It gets tricky because it's upsetting. So the narcissistic parent will always, as always, start something on the holidays. They may argue with you despite the custody agreement that they want the kids, or so-and-so is in from, I don't even know, so-and-so is in from Brazil and they're only here for one day and it's this day and I know you have them for Christmas, but I want them to see this person. You're going to say no. You're going to say no because it's so constructed and so contrived, and it's just to see if you will give up control. I don't want you to do that. And it's something that's really important to stick to. You are not a bad parent for doing it. You are sticking to your boundaries. You're giving your children consistency, especially around the holidays. Because if we're stressed around the holidays and we know what's going on, imagine how the kids feel if it's not structured. They need routine. They need structure. Stick to your holiday schedule when you are co-parenting with a narcissist. If you need to communicate with them over the holidays, everything in writing. No phone calls, only fact-based text messages. What time are you picking the kids up? What time are you dropping them off? That's it. If they start going on and on, well, it's Christmas. I don't understand. Why can't I have one more night with that? No response. Or you can simply say, that's not in the custody agreement. They're going to try to pick at you more than they normally would because it's the holidays. Okay. They may very well start a fight with you. You may have the kids for the holidays and the narcissistic ex may call you Christmas Eve and start a huge argument with you. Or they may have the kids call you Christmas Eve because they know you're with your new boyfriend or girlfriend and they want to ruin that experience for you. Let's say it's your first Christmas together, it's your first New Year's Eve together, or it's the first time they're meeting your parents. Your ex knows this. And all of a sudden, your ex fell down the stairs and broke their foot, or they have COVID, or something's wrong, they have to go to the hospital, or one of their parents is sick, or there's a leak in their house, a pipe burst. I don't know. The sun fell on their roof, whatever. But something will happen, especially if they know that you are doing something meaningful. So what do? You stick to your boundaries as much as it hurts you. You stick to your boundaries of your original plans. Okay? Also, if they try to manipulate you on events and days where they know it's something that's meaningful for you, the best thing you can do is not tell them your plans. Do not let them know in conversation somehow, well, you have the kids, right? Because so-and-so is meeting my parents tonight at Christmas dinner. Do not tell them that. That gives them so much to work with. And if your kids are young enough where they're going to talk about what you're doing, mommy's doing this or daddy's doing this, just tell your kids that you have plans with family and friends. That's it. But I really would try to avoid letting them know what your plans are because it just gives them more ammunition. And I don't want you to be in that situation. All of that being said, the holidays do not have to be gloom and doom. Are they difficult with a narcissist? They are. And that's the reality of the situation. That's why I'm doing this podcast. It is necessary for you to set boundaries. It is necessary for you to stay neutral. It is necessary for you to sit with the discomfort, regulate your nervous system. It is essential because of any time throughout the year, we know birthdays, holidays, major events, promotions, graduations, those are the times where the narcissists love to perform. Do not give them the platform. Neutral responses, boundaries, buffers, leaving the table to go do the dishes, not answering your phone, fact-based text only. Don't tell them your plans. Respond accordingly to the gifts that you get. Don't give them the fuel. All of these things are things that you can implement as you feel comfortable, as much or as little as you want. But again, it's not going to change them. Understand that. It's not like you can't say, I set the boundary, but it didn't work. A boundary only doesn't work if you don't keep setting it, right? So they're going to still do what they're going to do, right? Aunt Sarah's still going to say, you gained weight. Doesn't matter what you say back. The purpose of the boundaries is for you to walk away feeling empowered and more in control and leaving them standing there with the conversation, the accountability of it on them. What they choose to do with the accountability is up to them. They're not going to take it, but at least it's not yours to carry. And that's the most important thing. I want you to try to go through this holiday season as kind of calm as you possibly can. So I also, just for those of you listening, on my website, drjaimezuckerman.com, if you go to the workshops page, there is a link to a holiday help handbook, which lists all of these strategies, all of these exercises, and a whole bunch of other stuff about how to navigate the holidays. It's a information packet with a bunch of exercises. It's $27, but if you do 20% off for Black Friday, the code's BF20, it's on there. It's 20% off of that. It's something that you can use, not just for the holidays. You can use this, honestly, for graduations, birthdays, any events where the narcissist is definitely going to try to take charge of your emotions. So I highly recommend checking that out. Also on Instagram, I post stuff all holiday season long on boundaries and how to, come up with strategies to navigate this difficult time. So that's that. I hope that was helpful for you guys. And like I said, check out the stuff on Instagram. I will post some pretty helpful tips. Don't forget to look at the gifts that you've gotten from Narcissists posts because they are something else. Everybody have a wonderful and safe holiday, and I will speak to everybody soon.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Next Up Narcissism. I hope you found it useful, but most importantly, I hope you found it validating. Want to work one-on-one with me? Visit my website at drjaimezuckerman.com to book a personalized coaching session, and be sure to check out my on-demand workshops on topics like co-parenting with a narcissist, life after leaving, anxiety management strategies, and more. Again, that's drjamiezuckerman.com. You'll also find links to my interactive workbooks, merchandise, resources, and newsletter sign up. Next Up Narcissism is as much your podcast as it is mine. I want to hear your feedback and what you want to hear. So make sure to leave a podcast review wherever you listen or send an email to nextup@drjamiezuckerman.com. Again, that's nextup@drjamiezuckerman.com. Be sure to subscribe so that you never miss an episode. And as always, thank you so much for listening. Make sure to tune in next week to see what's up next on Next Up Narcissism.